And welcome back, everyone, to Death Battle Prediction. We got the next Death Battle coming. This thumbnail was made by One Maeve Stone. Makima from Chainsaw Man versus Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. Two series I have a passing, and I mean passing knowledge about. With a P on there, passing knowledge about. But I still know a little bit, so I had to dig deeper into, first off, why this matchup would happen. And having read like the descriptor of her abilities and his abilities, now I completely understand why this matchup would happen. They actually have very similar abilities. Gojo is one of the, main I wouldn't say he's a main character, but he's like he's like the big end all be all beat guy, the powerful guy. He's not the villain. He's like, the main, he's the All Might. There you go. He's the All Might of the series for the My Hero guys out there. Makima, on the other hand, is very much like, she's a demon. She makes contracts and she does things. But yeah, Gojo. So I gotta remember, I'm not doing a versus, so I don't have to necessarily break down these things in the same way. So it's actually a lot closer than I imagined. I initially thought Gojo could just sweep this fight. And he's definitely got advantages over her. Probably has an overall better skill level. He has better hand-to-hand combat experience because he actually does train. Although she is fairly passable. I think he's probably the more physically powerful of the two as well as better speed and reflexes. I think physically, despite her being a devil, I think she actually is outmatched physically, more or less. But that's not really what this fight would come down to. This fight would come down to her abilities, and her abilities are actually kind of hacks. She's capable of making deals and contracts and getting abilities based on those deals and contracts. She literally made a deal with the Prime Minister of Japan that any fatal wound inflicted on her would be transferred into an appropriate illness or ailment inflicting a random citizen of Japan. Hypothetically, you could just kill her enough times so she until all of Japan was inflicted with something or dead. But it would take forever to do that. And because of that, she just can't stay dead. She literally got shot in the back of the head. She was killed apparently at least 26 times before the Gun Devil later killed her. She got killed by Pochita several times during their confrontation, but just keeps getting back up because that's just the way that works. But Denji found a way to bypass that, and he killed her out of love, and therefore it was not considered an attack. So there's that. But she also had something called domination, which basically embodies the fear of control and conquest and domination. She can basically reflect this and manipulate pretty much anything and make contracts with anything she wants. Now, so long as she believes herself superior. And if she feels in any way she's not, she can theoretically just beat him in the fight to prove she's superior. I don't know how that's going to play a fact. I feel like Gojo is not someone who could just be controlled that way or manipulated. I feel like he's probably he's someone who could probably resist that, but I'm just not sure. She also has apparently an invisible force of manipulation, which is probably where a lot of this really comes from. This allows her to crush into targets with invisible force fields over long distances. In order to use the technique, she appears to require a higher place, such as a shrine, the name of the target, and a human sacrifice. Okay, well, that ability might come, they might be able to use a bystander for that. She forms a symbol with her hands and instructions, sacrifice, anyway. She's capable of inflicting damage by projecting invisible forces at targets by basically kind of like spirit gunning it. And she can just remove heads, but a la Elfen Lied. So there's that style, that option, I think, definitely, or she's capable in that regard. But we still have Gojo, who's got all of his standard abilities, including immeasurable cursed energy, or his Ryatsu chakra, with their version of all those. The ability called Black Flash, which is a technique that creates a spatial distortion when a user connects with an impact of cursed energy within 0.0000, I believe that's 501 seconds. So it's a pretty powerful technique. Obviously, his famous ability is Limitless, which allows him to use his other techniques known as Infinity, Cursed Technique Lapsed Blue, Cursed Technique Lapsed Red, I believe. Cursed technique reversal red, cursed technique lasts maximum cursed output blue, hollow technique purple. Where he has some reverse curse techniques as well. He's also got a very skilled at barrier techniques, unlimited void, domain expansion, and he's got something called Six Eyes, which hasn't really been fleshed out on. Basically, what the Limitless does is it slows down things by creating infinity around your target or around you. People think it used to just do a stopping thing, but actually, what it is, it's just slowing you down between you and the infinity. I think at one fight, he's just like infinity and just like, yeah, it's like, see, you're technically touching me, but there's infinity between me and you, so nothing you do is actually going to hit me. He basically is also using that infinity to manipulate gravitational forces. He can basically, as it said with blue, amplify the limitless and negative energies, producing a vacuum. Through this, Gojo creates a scenario where the world itself is forced to correct itself and fill in the negative space, causing all the matter in range of the command space to be pulled together. There's also the version of that which is much larger. There's the red version, which does the opposite, forcing everything outwards instead of inwards. There's the purple technique, which creates an imaginary mass. I'm not even sure how that's supposed to work exactly. But there's one technique on this list that already Gojo, I think, has the edge in terms of actual combat ability. Whether or not the invisible barrier stuff can do any energy stuff can do anything is up for debate. But even if it can't, he has something called Unlimited Void. Now, what that does, it creates a metaphysical space that causes the victim to receive all kinds of stimuli and information, endlessly restraining their thought processes and actions. In terms of raw strength, his domain is equal to Sukuna's own malevolent shrine on the inside, only losing due to the malevolent shrine's open domain that allows Sukuna to destroy the barrier of the Unlimited Void. Gojo's skill with his domain expansion is so great that he can precisely control the range and time its activation for only 0.2 seconds, limiting its lasting effects on those he traps within. He's able to freely change the conditions on Unlimited Barrier. This makes physical contact with those he makes physical contact with are immune to this effect. So basically, it's just a giant sensory overload that could literally just pop her down and kind of finish her off. Beyond that, I mean, this all depends on. See, she's technically immortal, but I get the impression he might very well win this fight. I think between the two, he's more of the fan favorite, and his abilities are a bit more. Are a bit more grand scale and destructive capabilities. She does have her own energy, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm going to go with Gojo, but these are two characters I don't know. This is like with the Killua versus, I can't remember her name, from a certain magical index. I don't know a lot about these characters. I know enough to at least give a general opinion, but not enough to be like, I know for a fact this character will win. So, yeah, ultimately, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in a little bit. Later.